What's up all you Minties, this is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, and join me today for a look inside of these Usagi Yojimbo color collections from IDW. I'm going to be talking about what's in here, and also compare it to the original printing of these books, and where they fit in the reading order of Usagi Yojimbo. So, please stay tuned. Welcome back everybody. Before getting started, huge thank you to the folks at IDW for sending us copies of these collected editions. So all of these are already out. They came out I think sometime in May or in June, some were delayed. Now the first one I'm going to be talking about is Usagi Yojimbo Origins. Then we'll talk about these other two and like I said, where they fit in. I'm very excited to do this overview. This is one that a lot of people have been asking me to do for a long time. And if you are interested in a Usagi Yojimbo reading order, I'd be happy to put that on our Patreon, the voting for that. Maybe make it go up against Street Fighter or Buffy or something reading order. I need something smaller after X-Men. So, let's start talking about this particular book right here and what it is. This is Usagi Yojimbo Origins. So a few years ago, we learned that IDW was going to start printing the Usagi Yojimbo stories in color. So the other thing they announced, and this was huge, was they were going to go back and start reprinting the original classic stories in color. And that's what this is. This goes back to the early appearances of Usagi Yojimbo. So we've already seen this stuff collected, mainly by Fantagraphics. I mean, Stan Sakai's Usagi Yojimbo has been around for well over 37 years. And it's all about this little rabbit and his adventures in feudal Japan. So, interesting enough that this starts with the story of Samurai. So, Samurai Part 1, which was originally collected by Fantagraphics in their trade paperback Volume 2. So it's not the original first story that features the character of Usagi, but it does an amazing job of introducing who he is, as well as provide his background stories. And then also, a lot of the characters that he's still acquaintances with, or will be a big part of his life, are introduced through these stories here. So you have like Gen the Bounty Hunter, you have Tomoe appear here. So that's probably why they did it in this order. And then there's little short stories here as well too, like the Kappa short story, which is one of my favorite ones, this one here, and other stories from his earlier adventures. So as I mentioned, it kicks off with Samurai, and let me just show you an example. So this is the Usagi Yojimbo Special Edition, collected from Fantagraphics. This hardcover is going to be reprinted. The box set is being reprinted later this year. And this is where you find his stories in chronological order. So the stories that are in here originally appeared through the pages of Fantagraphics collections. And that's interesting because, like I said, this is why I want to do a reading order, because then later on, Dark Horse started publishing them. So this is the very first story here of Usagi Yojimbo. Then we get Lone Rabbit and Child, which is very much like Lone Wolf and Cub. Actually, he draws heavy from Lone Wolf and Cub. Now, to get the Samurai, it's on page 153, and this is where we'll do a little comparison of what the colors look like. Now, all the colors have been approved by Stan Sakai. So this is one of those things that I'm okay with coloring, because usually I like the original content to be as it was originally published, such as the case of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or The Walking Dead. I'm okay with that stuff being in black and white. But things like this, or Akira, which are overseen by the original creators, I'm okay with the colors. And, I mean, I'm not going to lie, they're beautiful. They do add something to it. This is the way that I read it, so of course this brings back nostalgia. But if you've never read it, then why go back for the black and white unless you want to read it as it was originally printed? The colors are just, they look great. I don't know, they add a certain epic feel to it. But this is the way it looks. And just a couple more pages, and let's do a couple more action sequences. And then we can get started on the other books. Keep in mind, what you're looking at, though, are some of the earlier stories. So what this collects doesn't tell you really anywhere on the outside, just as a volume 1 up at the top, but it is called Usagi Yojimbo Origins, are the first 7 issues of the Usagi Yojimbo Color Classics. So reprinting this classic stuff. And here's the other page. And speaking of page, this book right here, the color one, has 168 pages and retails for $24.99. So this is what the differences are. And like I was talking about, they're not published in chronological order. But honestly, since most of them are standalone stories, you don't need to have read any of the previous stuff before jumping into Samurai. As a matter of fact, some of the stuff that's collected later on, some of those little short stories, were originally published before Samurai was. So it looks like they're going to go back and collect everything. And speaking of everything, let's look at some of these covers here. The new colors. And little sketchbooks back here. This is nice. I've always loved that picture of Usagi. Then a little bio on Stan, the man himself. Next up is Usagi Yojimbo, Bunraku, and other stories. So this even looks different than the first one. The spine looks different. There's a volume 1 in the Origins, and this is just the title of the book with no volume anywhere on the spine. However, what we're looking at here are volumes 34 and 35 of Usagi Yojimbo, if you're collecting them in the softcover edition. So where are volumes 32 and 33? Well, those have been collected in trade paperback edition, as well as these hardcovers. So in volume 9 of the Dark Horse collections, these Usagi Yojimbo Saga, also available in thick trade paperback format, that's where you'll find Mysteries and Hidden, both book 32 and 33. So after reading that in the chronological reading order, you want to come over to this, Bunraku and other stories. So the stuff that's in here has never previously been collected in black and white, in color. It's just been single issues. So this does collect Usagi Yojimbo, which I guess it would be volume 4 now, of the IDW run, issues 1 through 7. So this is the stuff that IDW has been publishing in single issues. They're also publishing the Origins issues, where they're going to go back and recolor all the classic stories. So this is stuff that is brand new, so the art style will probably look a lot different than the art style of the Origins issue. But this book retails for $19.99, and it has 192 pages. Let's look in the back here for some extras. So here we have the covers and pinups. I always love to see Stan Sakai do his own colors, but Tom Luth supplying the colors for this book and the ongoing series. And Tom Luth is no stranger to Usagi Yojimbo. Here, let's look at the next book. Tom Luth has been coloring Usagi Yojimbo covers for well over 30 years. So he's been there with the little rabbit for as long as Stan Sakai has been telling the stories. So he is now doing the internal colors of each of these issues. This volume, Homecoming, collects issues 8 through 14 of the IDW run. Again, only published in color and not in black and white. And I gotta be careful flipping through here because I haven't read any of these stories in the second volume. Now, one of the things I'm sure I'm going to be asked when I'm doing this video, and rightly so, is if IDW plans on releasing hardcover collections of these trade paperbacks. So far, this is the only thing that's available in this format. These single issues are only collected in trade paperback formats, whether it's the Origins or the new ongoing series. So nothing has been mentioned. Yeah, I would love oversized hardcover collections or even hardcovers to match the Dark Horse sagas, but nothing has been mentioned, just in this trade paperback format. And I really like the paper quality. It's this thick, glossy paper that they're using for this particular collected edition. If you're interested to know where to start reading Usagi Yojimbo, honestly, you know, it really depends on your taste. If you want to go back to the classic stuff, well, it's not available from IDW. That's all from Dark Horse and the Fantagraphics books. But really, here, let's look at the extras and then I'll tell you really quick where I think good starting points are. Here's some of the covers and pinups back here. Love that Peach Momoko, who also does an intro for this particular volume. Some of the black and white art there, and then of course the bio of Stan. This one also retailing for $19.99, and it has 192 pages. As far as where you want to start jumping on to Usagi, really they're all standalone stories, but if you want to get to his true origins, I think this book right here, ironically labeled Origins, does a good job of telling you what the little bunny is about and why he's on this quest of peace and war. And this book right here, honestly, I started reading it, I didn't finish it yet, does a really good job of reintroducing the character. I think Stan knew that this was going to be a new volume, so he had to reintroduce the character and a lot of his supporting cast to brand new readers. So both of these are really good jumping on points. But that, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing these books, don't forget to check out our sponsor, cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online source for collected editions up to 50% off retail price. Cheap Graphic Novels prides itself on excellent packaging, so your stuff gets to you in excellent condition, and they have amazing customer service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And for all you Minties that are watching, if you're a first-time customer, don't forget to mention that Near Mint Condition sent you their way for a promotional credit on free shipping on your next order. Now, this is only for U.S. customers. cheapgraphicnovels.com, your source for the hottest books with deep discounts, customer service, and excellent shipping that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content and page count of each of these collections. Let me know in the comments down below, first of all, if you've never read Usagi Yojimbo, and if you are interested in a reading order, I'd be more than happy to do that. If you have any questions, leave the questions down below. And more importantly, all of you stay healthy, stay safe, and much love.